So, we are live. We are live. So, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Yours truly, Chromatics here. Of course, this is the RVRB webinar series. And today we're going to be dealing with making money from music streaming platforms, etc., and streaming your music online. I kind of want to start with like my experience firstly in the music industry. Of course, I started off, back in the day when physical products were the common trend of how people consume music, whether it's CDs or records or cassette tapes. Went on to start my own record company with Spot Rushers and Highway Records. And we used to sell physical products, physical CDs, hand to hand, doing different in-store promotions, setting up little kiosks in the malls, etc. Had our street team. And then the music industry kind of went through a revolution, of course, with piracy and all of that. And I think what really helped start to curb piracy and change the habits of consumers and people and how they consume music was the internet and streaming music. This might be very foreign to a lot of artists in Trinidad and Tobago and people in Trinidad and Tobago because we aren't really up on the new methods of consuming music and subscription-based platforms like Spotify and Apple Music, mainly because one, we don't have Spotify in Trinidad. Yes, you can access it, but it's a kind of rigmarole that you have to go through. And of course, Apple Music is confined mainly to Apple iPhone users, etc. Right? So that's why it's something that is really new territory for a lot of Trinidad and Tobago artists, mainly because we don't ourselves use these platforms. But the reality is it have plenty of people in the world, millions. Right, I think Spotify is like 80 million users, or Apple Music is like 50 million users who are actually paying subscription fees every month to consume music, right? To listen to my music, to listen to whoever music is on the platform, right? So let's get into it. So a basic introduction, in the past, record labels were the gatekeepers who decided which bands have the opportunity to sell their music. Listeners often had to buy full albums in order to get access to songs. But this has changed a lot since then. These days, it's possible for any band or musician to sell their music online, and more music than ever before is being sold or streamed via digital providers. Digital providers meaning like Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon, Deezer, etc. On top of this, music listening and discovery habits have changed. Consumers tend to listen more and more to singles rather than full albums and compile playlists on their own of their favorite songs. So what this means basically is you need to make your music available for the following reasons. Access to new fans. Lots of people use streaming providers, such as I said before, Spotify, Deezer, Apple Music, and Amazon. If your music is not available on these platforms, you're restricting yourself from money. You understand? And of course, discovery and exposure. Online shops use all sorts of discovery tools to help people to discover and stream new music. Lots of money is spent attracting new listeners, and you can benefit from this. So a lot of the digital providers, Apple Music, Spotify, have their own sort of algorithms and different methods of curating music to your liking and to trends and different things. But we'll get a little bit more into that, you know what I mean? So you must be wondering, how do I get my music onto these platforms, onto the Apple Music, onto Amazon, onto Spotify? And of course, just want to highlight, Spotify is the biggest digital provider of them all. And just to refresh again, digital providers are, in essence, online stores. In this day and age, we count a stream as a sale, or a certain amount of streams as a sale, right? So you're thinking of not just downloadable platforms, like iTunes where you could download music, or a standalone sort of site like Bandcamp where you could download the actual music and put it on your hard drive, but we're talking about streaming music over and over and over. You have access to the device and you have access to these songs at your on demand whenever you choose to play them, and every time you play them it counts as a play or money generated, right? So in order to get your music onto these platforms, you have to use what is called a digital distributor, right? So I want to get into our first really point, which is what is digital distribution and benefits of streaming and digital downloads. Just to say, we have a chat, we have a live chat, right, going on. So if you all have any questions at any point in time, go in the chat and leave a question, and we'll be addressing all of them at the end of this webinar, right? So what is digital distribution and the benefits of streaming and digital downloads? Digital distribution, also referred to as content delivery or online distribution, is delivery of distribution of digital media content such as audio, video, software, and video games. The term is generally used to describe distribution over an online delivery medium such as the internet, right? Content distributed online may be streamed or downloaded, and often consists of films, television programs, music, software, and video games. A really good real-world example I think a lot of us would be familiar with is Netflix. We pay a certain amount for Netflix every month, and we get access to all their content, right? So typically, but going back to distribution now and how you would get your music onto these platforms, typically distribution referred to the placement of physical products like CDs and records in music stores and chains where consumers could purchase the physical product. That's where the term distribution came from, right? Of course, we're now dealing with it in the digital age, right? So dealing with music specifically in this digital age, the term distribution refers to placing your musical content or products in the digital outlets like iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, Apple Music, etc., right? Where consumers can either purchase your music or play/stream your music for a subscription fee. Streaming and subscription-based music retailers. Users select music to stream to their device on demand. They can listen to existing curated playlists, all for a monthly fee. This monthly subscription fee is tallied and expenses are deducted by streaming companies, and based on the amount of songs, subscribers, and plays on the platform, there's a general price assigned per play or stream. And this varies for different streaming services depending on their subscriber agreements and the business model, etc., right? So getting into a digital distributor, right? Well, some of the benefits, first of all, some of the benefits, let's see. Next slide. Right. So some of the benefits of online streaming for creators, reduce cost of production. In other words, you don't have to manufacture a physical product anymore. Quicker turnaround from creation to release, the ability to make adjustments as close to release dates as possible. Because before, if you were making a physical product, you would have to have all the artwork ready, printed. You have to burn the actual CDs or press up the records, and after that, then look to release. And by that point, you can't change nothing. So at least in this new digital age, you can choose up to the last point of release. You could make edits to the music, change the masters, change the artwork, etc., etc. So it really gives you that flexibility to, perfect your product coming up to as close to release date as possible. Benefits: instant access to your content by consumers and fans. When I say instant access, let me use a real world example. I believe DJ Khaled put out album last week Friday. As soon as it hit the digital providers I am an Apple Music user. As soon as it hit 12 midnight on Friday, I had it. I didn't have to go and stand up in a line. I didn't have to, wait for it to reach to mail it in or physically order it or anything like that. It was immediately available to me because I pay a subscription fee every month to Apple Music for basically most of the music in the world, right? Increase access to world markets. That's something that we will give an example to later in terms of using my own music and my own data to show you the kind of reach that streaming music has, and using these digital distributors can benefit to your music. Especially, it's very important for us being in Trinidad and Tobago. We always say about, we don't get this love and in Trinidad and locally, and foreign is where you had to get the music, etc., etc. This is one of the greatest ways to do it, and that is putting your music up on these digital providers using a digital distributor, right? Something that's also beneficial for streaming and using these distributors is the analytics that they provide. It allows you to see who's consuming what, where, when, and how, and it also helps you to target listeners by demographics, age, location, and by the medium to which they consume as well. Of course, we'll get into that a little bit later. I have some actual data from my digital distributor that I'll be showing you, right? So a digital distributor, once again, is a company or service online that will help you or will allow you to put your music up on to the digital platforms like a Apple Music, like a Spotify, like a Amazon. A lot of so for instance, Apple Music and iTunes, yes, you can go directly to them, but it's going to be a very long process. And the digital distributors allow you to, have access to these platforms immediately because of the amount of music that they distribute and, of course, their relationships. So let's get into choosing a digital distributor, right? So before we look at the slide, a digital distributor is a company that takes your music and places it on online stores like iTunes and Amazon, and streaming services like Spotify, Deezer, and Apple. They also collect the money generated from these streams. So not only are they putting the music onto the platforms, they are doing the collection for you on your behalf, right? And then they pay either a percentage or charge a fee for the entire service, or both. Right? As I say, we'll get into more. You need a distributor to get your music into Apple Music, iTunes, Amazon, These distribution companies do this for you. You can use multiple distribution companies. So, for instance, I have most of my releases are with CD Baby, but I've also tried, I'll try a song on a different distributor just to get the experience and see how they compare in terms of what I'm getting as a creator, a content creator from the different distribution services, right? However, you cannot place the same song on different distributors. But you can, but that wouldn't make sense because it will end up showing up twice on Spotify and Apple Music, and you're kind of splitting your revenue. It's like almost putting up the same song on YouTube twice. You want one place where the traction will be all the traction will be coming towards that one song, yeah, and people sharing that one song. So although yes, you can experiment and use different digital distributors for different releases, it's always best to use one for one particular song and don't spread it all over the place. Very important, none of these companies own your rights or the copyrights to the music. They're just providing a service for you, and for that service, they charge a fee or, as I say, take a percentage or both. Digital distribution services are adding new methods of monetizing your content every day. They could collect royalties from other streaming services for you, like YouTube and Facebook, as well as a lot of services now have been getting into publishing, right? But we could talk a little bit about that in a little while, a little more about that rather. All right. So what you want to look for when choosing a digital distributor, which is the sliders on the screen, right? So just before we go forward, some examples of a digital distributor are CD Baby, TuneCore, DistroKid, Muse, AWOL. There's a whole heap out there, right? There's a whole heap. Especially in this, it used to just be like one or two, which was TuneCore and CD Baby. But then, of course, a lot of competitors came into the game, like DistroKid, offering different services and different deals. Right. So going back to the slide, choosing a digital distributor. What you want to find out or research is how much do they charge for their service? Is it an upfront cost and or a percentage of your income generated? So that's something you want to look at. How are your releases being affected when you no longer pay for your service fees? Subscription based. So DistroKid and TuneCore, when you put up a song, they basically, you have to pay every year to keep that song up on the platforms. So if you miss a payment, say if you put up song X, right, this year, and next year you miss your renewal payment, right, your song will be removed from all of these platforms. So that's why it's different benefits to different digital distributors. I use CD Baby. I pay a one-time fee, which it might be more than the others, right? But I know that song is going to be up on all these digital providers for the future, right? I don't have to worry about if next year I miss a payment and my song is going to be removed, etc., etc. Another thing to always look at is what sort of analytics do they offer. Not just analytics when it comes to where and how your music is being played, but your revenue reports. So a lot of them do different types of reports, but I've found CD Baby and TuneCore probably to be the best in terms of actually seeing where the money is coming from, and it's basically the accounting of all your streams, where it's being streamed, how it's being streamed, and the money generated from each actual play. And that's something that's very interesting to watch and look at. Right? What are some of the hidden? Excuse the excuse those spelling mistakes and whatever. Right? We're going with the flow. What are some of the hidden or additional costs, if any? This is something to look at when you're choosing a digital distributor, because one distributor might say, we don't charge no fees up front, and you're getting 100% of your royalties, but on the back end, they're charging you for little bits and bobs here and there, and for extra services that, you might not be aware of. And then when you get into it, you're like, oh gosh, I have to pay for this, etc., etc. Right? Do they offer additional services like playlist plugging, publishing, collection, and or collaborator payment splitting, etc.? Right? So some services, we'll get into playlists in a little bit, but some services, some digital distributors offer actual playlist plugin, which means getting your music onto large playlists within the platforms of Apple Music and Spotify, etc., where a lot of users go to, right? Publishing collection. As I said, that's something that a lot of the digital distributors are starting to get into, in terms, and this is not your mechanical royalties. So your mechanical royalties is what they are really collecting. Each download and each stream counts as a mechanical sale, a sale on mechanicals. And publishing, of course, as you know or don't know, right, would be the rights of the writers and authors who actually made the music. You're familiar with COT for the states, ASCAP and BMI. They collect those royalties on behalf of the writers and authors. And now digital distributors are actually doing that, and actually searching and getting new forms of income via publishing that might be overlooked by your PRO, meaning your cut or your ASCAP or your BMI, and collaborator payment splitting. They make it very easy to say if I had a collaboration with another artist or with me and a producer have an agreement, I can just enter that data, his name, etc., into when I'm uploading my song to my digital distributor, and they will essentially do the splitting after that. So they'll send him money to the writer or the producer, etc. Do they allow collection for cover songs on albums? This is something very interesting as well. You can actually get paid for doing cover songs and cover albums via your digital distributor, right? Some of them actually go into the process of getting the licenses for you. If you sang a cover of a song and you wanted to put it up for sale, you can actually generate money from it, right? And last one that I added in here because I just had an experience this week, actually. Do they allow compilation of various artists' albums? So when choosing a distributor, this is something that you might want to look at, especially for producers who might be putting up like a rhythm, and you would consider that a various artist album. So if you want to put up a rhythm, and this is actually how I got that information, certain digital distributors don't allow you to do that, and others do, right? So these are some of the key things that you would want to look for when choosing a digital distributor to put your music onto the Spotify and Apple Music, etc., All right. So I want to get into some examples of different digital distributors and these points that we just pointed out here in choosing a digital distributor, the differences with some of them, right? So we have 3 examples, and these are basically the 3 top dogs, right? CD Baby, TuneCore, and DistroKid. So let's just go through them. CD Baby, their average cost is $10 per song, $50 per album. Well, it's really like $9.95 or $49.99. So I just round it off, though, to make life easier. All right. So in order to put a song up on the platforms through CD Baby, you have to pay $10 per song or $50 per album. On top of which, they take 9% commission. Right, so that's a percentage on every sale, every stream. They take a commission of 9%. They have extra charges you have to for UPC codes. For those who don't know what that is, that's basically a barcode. You could go and do a little more research on that when they're selling a product, especially with CD Baby that sells actually sells physical products as well, physical CDs. So aside from distributing online, they actually do physical as well. If you choose to go that route, if you want to, I don't really see the necessity in this day and age. But hey, you might want to do some collectible stuff, etc. Availability: songs are distributed for life. As I said, that's a very important factor. Analytics and revenue reports. Theirs are extremely thorough and detailed data, as you will see later. Extra services, song splitting and publishing. So they're offering these services now. I think CD Baby is just coming into it, and they are pushing ahead in terms of the publishing. But you also actually have to pay for that part of it to administer the CD Baby to go after your publishing. What's interesting as well is that aside from collecting your money from the streaming platforms like Apple Music, like Spotify, like Deezer, CD Baby and a couple others also can collect your revenue from YouTube. So you can actually monetize your YouTube. And some of the distributors are now doing collection for SoundCloud. So I don't know if you all knew that, but you can actually monetize your SoundCloud, and of course you can monetize your YouTube. And it's very important in this day and age to monetize every which way you can. I always say that in the music industry, it's about maximizing all your different streams of income. So that's very important. So moving on to TuneCore and the difference that their service provides. They also have a cost of $10 per song, $50 per album, but that is per year. So every year, no matter, say if you put up a song for $10 and that song only generate $5. Next year, this time, you're gonna have to pay $10 again to keep your song up on all the digital providers like the Apple Music and Spotify. But they take 0% commission. They have their extra charges. They have a couple others, but they charge $2 to add to every additional store. Everyday stores are coming up online. So like, as I was saying, I keep mentioning the Amazon, the Apple Music, the Spotify, etc., because those are the big dogs. The different little streaming stores and downloadable stores popping up every day in different markets across the world. China, Japan, Africa, etc. A lot of local companies that are huge, have huge markets, and they open different stores. So you might distribute to 100 stores. By next year, it might be 105 stores. Or there might be 10 additional stores that you might want to attack. Right? So TuneCore charges $2 to add it to every additional store. Availability, once I said again, if you don't pay your annual fee, songs are removed. That is nonsense in my book. But hey, analytics and revenue reports, from what I heard, they're very good, and they do offer the extra services. They do offer publishing, etc. DistroKid, which is the new kid on the block, no pun intended, offers unlimited song uploads. In other words, for a subscription-based sort of fee. So for $20 to $35 US, all these prices that you see are in US a year, you can upload as many songs as you want. So you have a whole album and an EP and 5 singles that you releasing in 2019. You can release all of that for one yearly price, right? And then, of course, you will have to renew that, right? You will have to renew that next year. But I think that's a really cost-effective way for artists to, who don't want to spend that unnecessary set of money per release, like a CD baby. To kind of curb that upfront cost. So you're basically paying $20 to $35 per year for all the amount of songs that you can fathom uploading. And of course, they take 0% commission on the back end. So you just pay that one-time yearly fee, and all your music will be up on the streaming providers. They do have extra charges. They have $20 payment if you want to do artist splits, and $30 to $50 for your music to remain on the digital providers. So in other words, if you don't, once again, similar to TuneCore, if you don't pay your yearly subscription fee to CD Baby, which is $20 to $35, your music will be removed. But they do have the option, regardless of that, to pay $30 to $50 per release, and your music will be up for a lifetime. There's a certain name that they have for it. It's called a legacy package or something like that, right? Where you can upload your music and add that cost of $30 to $50 for it to be up on the streaming platforms for life. Once again, as I say, availability removed when your subscription fee is canceled or missed. Analytics and revenue reports. Supposedly, I've heard that they're very poor. And in terms of extra services, they are providing artist splitting, etc., splitting of the royalties and whatnot. All right. There are countless digital distributors like Amuse, STEM, Ditto, AWOL, Song Trader, etc. So do your research. There's a site. I don't know if I'll be able to link it. I could probably put it in the chat. There's a site called Ari's Take that gives you a whole breakdown of all the digital distributors and the pros and cons, what they provide, what they don't provide. So it's very important to do your research, right, before you go. But as I say, I personally choose CD Baby, and I really love the platform, the ease of use, and more importantly, the data that's coming back from them. Why? Well, we will show you just now. Things that you need to know before uploading your music, right? You need to have your high quality WAV files, your masters in WAV. I'm not sure, you probably can upload MP3 to the different distributors, but that wouldn't even make sense in my book if you want to maintain a high quality. So you would want to have your highest quality WAV so that when you do distribute it, and whatever the service provider is in terms of the digital provider, in terms of Apple Music or Spotify, whatever they break it down to is at least being broken down from a higher quality format, right? You want to make sure you have your artwork ready. And then, of course, you also want to make sure that your samples are cleared. If you have samples, right? Because that could lead you into trouble down the road. You really should own, the rights or have all your sample agreements, etc. in our gears before you decide to upload to your digital distributor. So I just want to kind of recap what we've been saying for now. In this day and age, digital distribution is basically getting your music onto the online stores and streaming sites. The stores like iTunes, Amazon, where people across the world can purchase your music. And of course, streaming sites like Apple Music and Spotify, where they can stream your music, and every play, every stream counts as an income. You get paid for every time it plays. Now, as I said before, this is something that's a very is a more global sort of approach, because we don't use it a lot down here in Trinidad and Tobago and in the Caribbean, but it is generating millions and millions of dollars for artists across the world and thousands of dollars for artists locally. I know that for a fact, right? Because I generate thousands of dollars with my streaming income. So it's getting your music onto these platforms for the rest of the world to hear and purchase and download and stream, and for you to generate money. And you do that via using digital distributors, of which we have some examples here: CD Baby, TuneCore, DistroKid, etc., etc. I will copy and paste the link to go and check out all the other streaming sites into the chat when we're ready to finish. All right, let me start to move along now. Right. So once you get your music uploaded, right, you use your digital distributor and you got it uploaded on Spotify, on Apple Music. Now you have to market and promote, right? And one of the great things that your digital distributor like your CD Baby would provide is analytics. As you will see here, this is an example. This is not recent. I believe this was from March, earlier this year, when I did another presentation about this similar topic rather. This is sort of the data that you will be getting back from your digital distributor. So this is CD Baby. This was December 24th to March 25th. This was a readout of all Spotify plays. So as you can see, from the start of the year up to March, I received 28,000 streams for the song with me and Blacks, right? Called All in the Road. And if you're here, check it out. Yeah, you can check it out on your YouTube and thing, right? So this is some of the data that they will be providing, and you could see, the graph basically showing you when was the peaks. And of course, that would have been all of Carnival season. oddly enough, the song is actually doing very well outside of our carnival season up the other islands and foreign territories. Yeah. But what is most exciting to me is when looking at your digital distributors data, this, right? This is the kind of analytics and data that I think is very helpful. So with regards to that same song, right? Because I only targeted, actually, no, sorry. That wasn't just one song. That was all my total streams for that period of time, I think 28,000, right? We can see where the most engagement is coming from, where people are buying, streaming the music the most. So we have the United States, Canada, UK. But then, of course, we have countries like Netherlands, Germany, France, Sweden, Australia, Switzerland, Italy. And being a Trinidadian artist is very important sometimes to see these sort of things and remind yourself where your music is reaching and touching, and also generating, most importantly, generating income. Because sometimes we can get discouraged, you know, being from Trinidad and complaining about radio and the thing and the thing and the thing. Well, every day I would just go into my CD Baby account and look at, all right, we just achieved a Japan sale, or iTunes Australia just made a sale. And these things keep you going, keep you motivated, and of course keep money in your pocket. All right, so just to move on a little bit again, this is also saying some of the analytics that you would get back. Male and female breakdown of the total unique listeners. You have your demographics, in other words, your age groups, your age brackets. You'll see my highest listening age bracket would be 28 to 34, followed by 23 to 27 and 35 to 44. Right? And then, of course, you're seeing how people are consuming your music, which is via mobile, desktop, or tablet. And as you can see, the majority, we would say about 75%, right? On which devices is mobile. So that goes to show you how people are consuming your music all over the world. It's on the phone. People not putting in a CD into a deck anymore, right? So that actually would help you in your marketing, how you want to market and promote your music. You know what I mean? In terms of finding out where people are consuming it and how they're consuming it, right? So I want to talk about playlists, and then we want to wrap up with probably the most important part of this entire presentation, right? But in terms of playlists, so once you get your music onto Apple Music, you use your digital distributor, whether it's CD Baby, TuneCore, DistroKid, whoever. You get your music onto Apple Music, Spotify, etc. Now you want to market and promote that your music is on these platforms to the actual users of these platforms, which is millions of people who pay their subscription fee every month to have access to your music, right? Playlist is one of the best ways to do that. Getting your music into and featured in popular playlists and can increase your streams exponentially and thus increase your income generated, on top of which can expose your music to millions of listeners worldwide. Each streaming service has unique algorithms that customize new experiences and searches to users' unique data and listening patterns and trends, etc. Right? So on Apple Music or Spotify, say me, Chromatics, I can make a playlist of my favorite hip hop songs that are out right now. And say one of you out there, one of your songs might be it, and it's on my playlist. And people come to my profile, or they see me on Spotify or Apple Music, and they see what I'm listening to, etc. And then they go into this playlist and they start streaming, listening to my playlist, songs that I like. You know, this will just increase plays for you. So increase money. Remember, every play on these streaming platforms is income. It might be 0.0001 cents, but it all adds up at the end of the day. Trust me. Right? So getting your music onto playlists. Now, this is user-based curated playlists. So I might make playlists. A lot of other people might make playlists. A lot of influencers might make playlists. So to use an example, Dr. J, who is a huge soca DJ from Toronto. He created a playlist on Apple Music and put a lot of my music onto that playlist. He's a huge influencer. He has a huge following, especially in Toronto. Everybody knows him as one of the biggest soca DJs in the world. And he created a playlist of the 2019 top, his opinion, the top 2019 soca releases. And of course, the tune with Blacks, All on the Road with Me and Blacks, was featured in that. That's why it was able to generate a lot more money and income, because he would have had a lot of people going towards that playlist, going to that playlist to hear music on it. And it goes for all the different platforms, whether it's Spotify or Apple Music. Those are user or influencer based playlists. And then of course there's playlists that are actually curated by the company. So Apple Music has a like top hip hop playlist, and Spotify would have their, I think it's a Fire Friday or something like that, you know? So, and there's countless playlists that millions of subscribers, when I say subscribers, people who use Apple Music, people who use Spotify and the streaming platforms, go to hear new music. So getting your music onto those playlists will increase the income that you make off of streaming exponentially, right? So once you got your digital distributor, you uploaded your music to your distributor, they distribute it to the digital providers, which are the Amazons, etc., Spotify, Apple Music. Now it's up to you to start to get the ball rolling. And don't think that, you can't generate any income without having to do a whole heap of marketing and going hard and trying to get your music on playlists. Your music you will be surprised going back into your data, seeing where and how your music is being consumed and who listening to it where in the world, and it's always very motivating to go in and see that kind of data, All right, so I think that's it for this slideshow. Right? So the last thing, most important, right? Accessing the income generated from the streaming revenue. Now we talk about how to get it. We talk about using a digital distributor to get the music onto the platforms, onto the streaming platforms. The most important part now is how you're getting money. You know what I mean? I think this is the whole overall synopsis of this presentation is about how do you access that money, right? Sad to say that in most cases, you will need a credit card. You will need a credit card to pay for your uploading your music to your digital distributors. But in a lot of cases, and I know you can actually get a friend to do it for you. Yeah? You can get a friend you pay him all the money and say, hey, put it up. Use this digital distributor, and they can use a credit card to pay the price of whether it's the upfront fee or the yearly subscription fee to the digital distributor, as we talked about a little bit about just now with CD Baby and TuneCore and DistroKid and their different ways, their different fees, right? As I say, you need a credit card in most cases to pay for your song album uploads or for your yearly payments to your digital distributor. You will need, in most cases, a PayPal account, right, for your distributor to send you your payments for income generated from sales and streams, right? So you want to look into that. You're going to have to set up a PayPal account. PayPal is a service that is used globally to send money, to pay for things, and to accept transactions online, right? One of the important things to note with PayPal is a Visa card must be associated with your PayPal account in order to receive funds and payments via PayPal. Other cards like MasterCard can only allow you to use PayPal to make purchases online and not receive payments and transactions. I went through that for a couple years before I really started getting my the ball rolling with my streaming income. I had a MasterCard associated with my PayPal, so they was allowing me to go and spend all the money in the world. But in order for me to receive payments, I had to have a Visa card associated with the PayPal account, connected to the PayPal account, and then they lift the restriction of you being able to receive funds, right? So going over it again, you're most likely going to need a credit card to make your payments to your digital distributor. And then on top of that, you will need, in most cases, in all cases, as far as I'm concerned, a PayPal account. And basically what you're doing is you're setting up your PayPal account, right, to receive money from your digital distributor. So example with me, I have PayPal associated with CD Baby. Every month, whatever income is generated via CD Baby will send that money to my PayPal account, right? I mean, we get to the next part now. Accessing your PayPal account in Trinidad and Tobago. PayPal typically uses bank accounts across the world, right? For some reason, in Trinidad and Tobago, they don't have any bank that you can directly associate your bank account and your PayPal account with. It's sad, I know. I think they're working on it. Martin, you know, any progress in that department?
First Caribbean supposed to be having it on stream by the end of the year.
Supposed to be. First Caribbean supposed to be having it on stream by the end of the year. But anyway, the way to do it now is I have a VTM card. Now, this is my personal, this is how I went about it every time. I have basically a Visa debit card from Republic, and I associated that with my PayPal. I connected it to my PayPal account, right? So you pay your digital distributor, they upload the music, it starts to generate money and streams and play and people downloading it and you're making money, right? Hits your digital distributor, they send it to your PayPal account, right? Now the PayPal account goes to my card, and when it goes to that card and that account, I can withdraw it by any ATM in Trinidad and Tobago, basically. That's how I access the funds. Yes, there might be a couple, PayPal does charge for certain transactions. It's a minimal fee. But I was also doing some research. JMMB, some of you might be familiar with that bank in Trinidad, also offers a credit/debit card, Visa, that you can associate with your PayPal, and it works in the same way, right? You can go by any ATM and access your money anywhere in Trinidad, and that will be in TT dollars. So you will be facing whatever exchange rate that particular bank has at that point in time. But it's better than not being able to access your money. Certain other artists as well don't see the need to withdraw the money. You can actually leave it on your PayPal account and use it to pay for other things online. That's an option as well if you choose that. But I like to see the money come in my hand, right? That's just me personally. And then I take it and then I put it in another bank account, let that sit down there and create some money. So just to go over once again the entire thing, I think we're kind of running out of time, but I know you all might have some questions. Let me see if we have any questions inside there. Okay, all right. So if you all have any questions, feel free to post them in the chat now. Right? Any questions that you like. So yes, money. Yes, Roger. Money must be accessible. You seen that? right? So just to go over once again, the new age of music consumption is via streaming. People all over the world, whether it's YouTube, how often does CD Baby send income to your PayPal? Well, you can actually set it up in different ways. I think you can set it up to reach a threshold. So once it reaches over 100 US, they can send it to your PayPal. But I think typically it's usually 30 days. You know. Yes, Maria. Well, that makes life simple. But I didn't really want to bring up that. But yes, if you have a US bank account, you can associate it with your PayPal account. Right? That makes life real simple. But the majority of we don't have no US bank account. But if you can, there actually are ways that a Trinidadian citizen can open a US bank account and can set it up. That is an option. You know? But for the most of us, we don't. Yeah. So yeah, so once again, y'all keep asking questions. I just want to go over the entire thing. You finish your music, right? You're ready to put it up for sale online. Now, a lot of us might be thinking, all right, it's only radio, and then you just get shows, and then thing, and that's how it works. But that is far from the truth. The way that people consume music in this day and age, worldwide, right? We might be sitting down here thinking we're stuck in a rut and music ain't playing on the radio and we ain't getting no shows, but that doesn't mean that you cannot generate money from your music in this day and age, right? Of course, you're using your digital distributor to put your music onto these big platforms like Spotify and Apple Music. And trust me, once you do it, you will see income coming in. It might be a little bit, but that was my experience with it. I first got a song, track with Nebula 868 called True Talk No Lie, and that was my first experiment with with streaming platforms, and I started to see money coming in. And I was like, wait now, we have money to make. Anyway, go into some questions. Do you have to be from certain regions to monetize SoundCloud as you do with YouTube? No, you have to use secondary service. So I actually use BeatStars, which a lot of producers use to sell their beats online, to monetize my SoundCloud. Right? There are other service providers who do that, who collect your revenue from BeatStars. How much on average does a stream or 100 streams generate? Well, that kind of varies. It varies from platform to platform, because basically each platform, so let's take, for instance, Spotify or Apple Music, right? Certain ones pay more than others. So they're working out a pay-per-play price and cost, right? So it's based on the amount of subscribers they have, their agreements, and the amount of money generated, and the amount of plays, right? So for instance, say they get, all right, just to do some quick maths. Say they have 100 subscribers and 100 song plays, not 100 songs, 100 song plays. That basically breaking down to, like, say there are 100 subscribers, everybody paying $1 for the service, and then you have 100 plays, that breaking down to like $1 per play, right? So it's somewhat of a formula that works like that. So it varies on the amount of subscribers, the amount of money coming in, etc. But it does all add up, you know. There will be a replay on MusicTT YouTube. Subscribe to the channel to be notified. Okay, that's cool. You're right. So can you summarize again how best to use your song to get your song listened to, etc.? that is playlists using digital platforms, etc. Well, basically, playlists are curated by either users or by the companies themselves. So like Apple Music or Spotify. So you can contact, there are people who make playlists, you can contact them and try to get your music screened to be added to their playlist. But some of the best ways to actually promote it now is using what they call a one page, right? There's a one page. Oh, thank you. It's so nice around here. I'm gonna drink a little water, talking for 1 hour. Water have flavor to it, but yeah. So, where was I? Right. So you can use actually get in touch with people who curate playlists, etc. But what I was saying is right, using a one page. A one page is a great way to market your music. There's this company called Smart URL. There's a couple others like it that you can use to promote and market your music. You can put it into your Instagram account. You can start share it. You're sharing it like any other web link. But what it does is it actually lists all the streaming platforms. So I had a song this carnival called Lie Down. I did something similar with it. And basically you send that link, you copy and paste that link wherever you want, you send it to your people, you broadcast it on WhatsApp, you put it on IG, put it on your Facebook, and that takes people to one page where they can choose their preferred streaming platform. So if they want to listen to it on Apple Music, if they want to listen to it on Spotify, if they want to listen to it on YouTube, or if they want to listen to it on SoundCloud. So that's a really good way of promoting your music in this digital age, and letting the user choose where, because people have preferences. So if I get a link from somebody like that, and I see that it's available on Apple Music, I already pay my subscription fee every month. I go and listen to it on Apple Music. Especially if it's a local artist, I go and give that local artist the little cha-ching, you know what I mean? Right? So that's a good way of using these one pages. There is actually a local service, a service that's being created by a Trinidadian-based entities, right? That is providing that same service in terms of our one page. Yeah. So boom. So that's it. So let me just recap. I ain't seeing no questions coming in, no other questions, right? But anyway, just to recap, right? You have your music, right? You're ready. You want your music to make money for you. You prepare it. You got your artwork. You have your high quality WAV files ready. You upload it. You upload it to your digital distributor. You find out who is the best digital distributor for you, whether it's DistroKid, CD Baby, TuneCore, whoever. Remember, there's a lot out there, so do your research and find out which one is best for you, right? You uploaded your music. You start to promote and market it. You start to generate income and streams and plays via the Amazons, via the Spotify, via the Apple Music. You start to see money coming in to your digital distributor. They send your music to you via PayPal. Remember, you have to set up your PayPal account. You have to associate a Visa card with it in order to receive payments. And then you have to associate a card that you can access your money to. And then it's very simple. You just go by ATM and take out your money. You know what I mean? So, yeah, in a nutshell, that's it. You can hit me up at Chromatics Music on Instagram. That's at Chromatics Music. I could type it in the chat.
Yes.
Nice. I'm going to type it in the chat there for you. At Chromatics Music. Oh Lord, I can't spell this over. All right, let's see our next question coming in. I'll just type this in. Come on. Lord, that is not it. delete comment. All right, I'm gonna type it in again. Or like, feel free to ask some questions in the meantime. Think about anything. Mariella, your computer don't like me. It really doesn't like me. All right, there we go. So follow me at Chromatics Music, right, on Instagram. And if you have any other further questions, feel free to. I'm always like, when it comes to music business, and especially in this digital age, I'm always bouncing off ideas and talking to people, because you never know what you could learn from somebody who going through the same thing that you going through. Like, I actually contacted a lot of artists. Shout out to the writer. Shout out to K Bishop. Shout out to J Dot, the producer. Shout out to DLL. We've been talking and just finding out different people's experiences dealing with these issues, and in this new digital age, trying to access your money now. I think for MusicTT, another really cool webinar would be for producers on how producers are making money online these days as well, using digital, using YouTube and these sort of things. All right. Now we will get. I think J Dot might be a good fella to do that, because he has a lot of experience. Anyway, we have one more question. For an album or EP launch, is a substitute to CDs on streaming? Yes, there is. Right, and I will be using it for my upcoming album, and it's called downloadable cards. Now, we didn't talk about Bandcamp and other sites that you can actually put your music on for sale, where once somebody buys it, they have access to it all the time, right? So for my releases, I use a site called bandcamp.com, where you can put your music onto the site, and then people just go there, they pay the music, and then they download the high quality WAV files. Now, that can encourage piracy, but the reality is, if a fan go in and pay 10 US for my album, is however it hang its way, right? But what this site allows you to do is create codes, right? So for instance, shout out to MusicTT once again. When I went on tour in 2016, I put together an EP, right? And I called it my 2016 tour EP, and went to Bandcamp, and they allow you to download codes that you can place on a card. So I did up a card, normal business size, right? You can do it on anything you want. You can do it on like a 4x4 flyer or on a business card size, and put any sort of graphics that you want, all the information, but also you can download the codes, individual codes, right? And get your printer or whoever's printing these things to print it onto the back of the card, and you sell the card. You're not actually selling a CD. So it's a one-time download code exclusive to that customer, right? So you put the music onto the card, onto the card. You put the code onto the card, and you're selling them the card. And when they go home or from the phone, they enter the code on the back of the card, and they're allowed to download the album one time only, right? So that's a really unique way to go around selling actual physical products. The cost of production is way less. And what's cool about it is if you do it like an actual business card, you can put all your other stuff on there, all your social media links, your website, etc., and then put your code on the back. All right, so it's a really good marketing tool. And look out for it on my album, Hammer and Chisel. Right, I'll be doing that. So check out Bandcamp. I don't know what other sites provide that sort of service, but Bandcamp is a really good one. What type of music genre artist presently generates the most amount streaming or downloading? Hip hop, though? Straight. Yeah, I don't know. I could be wrong, But right now it's probably the Nas X Old Town Road must be generating the most money streaming right now. Yes, bandcamp.com. Yeah, bandcamp.com. Yeah, check them out. Right? I could be wrong, and I'll go into the research and find out who generated the most streams. I'll tell me I just biased. Right? So, folks, I really hope that you'll learn something today. Like, that's just, if I could come here and bring some knowledge to you all, or grace you all with some sort of new insight as how to generate money and make a living off of this music thing, then my job is done. And thanks to the good folks at MusicTT for bringing me here. We're a little bit over the time. I can stay online one day, but now can't do that. Sessions in the studio. So thanks for bringing me here. Thanks to everybody who logged on. I really hope that you found it informative. And as I said before, hit me up at Chromatics Music on Instagram if you have any further questions. I'm going to find out anything. On top of that, this Saturday I'll be performing at Skyview Lounge in San Fernando for the Drop the Mic TT event, also sponsored by MusicTT, I believe, or supported by MusicTT, right? So make sure and come out. It's not just me alone, but I am the featured artist. I'll be doing a whole half an hour long set. But of course, there's also going to be other artists, performers going to be there. Mike Wise, shout out to Mike Wise, shout out to Jimmy. There's also going to be comedians, spoken word poets, etc., etc. So come on, it's going to be a really nice vibes this Saturday at Skyview Lounge in San Fernando. We're going down south. See me, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Once again, hit me at Chromatics Music on Instagram if you need any other further questions answered, right? Blessed love.